Ian, we got to listen to voicemails.
We do.
Anchor.fm/CU podcast. You can leave us a quickie, and we'll get back to you within a reasonable time.
Yeah, we try.
Hey, Pat and Ian. This is James from Hudson, Ohio. Huge fan of the podcast. Thanks for all you do. It really means a lot to me. This is a question primarily for Ian. Do you have any suggestions for somebody hoping to get into vinyl? I've been trying to find an affordable setup out there, but frankly, there's so many options. It's just a bit overwhelming. Thanks so much.
I let that one slip through.
I think Audio-Technica's current line of direct drive, or probably even the belt drive turntables, are good. I've had multiple friends get them. They enjoy them. If you wanted to look into something, and those can be had for, fairly reasonable. You're still looking at some money, but they're not out of the realm of possibility. If you want to look into something vintage, I always like Pioneer. I would always suggest looking at a Pioneer turntable.
Onkyo. I like Onkyo. I like that name.
Onkyo. Yeah, I remember them.
My 15 years I've had my receiver. Still works fine. My Onkyo.
I think my dad had an Onkyo turntable at one point.
Onkyo, they're robust, aren't they? The company? No.
As far as records, find your most localist record shop and go there frequently. Constantly look through the used bin. If they're a good record shop, they'll have used new arrivals, and check that as much as you can. Records are getting expensive these days. They are worth a good amount of credit at a good record store. Always, always, always check the used trade-ins.
God, do I even own any vinyl? I'm trying to think if I own even anything. Frank obviously has some.
Hey, Pat and Ian, first time, long time. So, with the time that has passed since the release of the Nintendo 64, do you think it's finally time for Nintendo to have a classics collection for the Nintendo Switch, a la the SNES and NES classics? Also, what is your favorite game that absolutely pisses you off, but you still find yourself having to come back to it anyway?
I don't think I come back to any games that piss me off. I don't think I do.
No, I don't. I don't play things that make me angry. However, shooters can get me a little grumbly.
Okay.
But it's a good kind of anger. It's the type of anger where it's like, I want to go one more time. I want to beat it.
First-person shooter?
No, just like shoot 'em ups.
Oh, shoot 'em ups. Okay.
So, that's probably the closest. Shoot 'em ups will definitely get to a point where I'm like, all right, I'm done for the day. They're very hard. They're meant to be. And I always go back to them. But I don't get detrimentally angry at them.
So does this person mean N64 mini, or they meant N64
I think
games on Switch?
I think they meant like an N64 mini. But I think Nintendo realized
there's no money in that compared to what they're doing now.
Yes.
Spend $50 on a controller that cost us $5 to manufacture, and then we'll just charge you $5 more.
I never said it, but I think by jumping directly to the digital, I don't think we'll ever see an N64 mini.
No,
it's not worth the production line. It's not worth the R&D. It's not worth any of that when they can just throw a bunch of ROMs up online for $5 or $10.
Reggie Fils-Aimé admitted we did the they did the NES Classic because they had nothing going on that winter 2016 before the Switch.
They needed something to sell for Christmas.
Nothing to sell.
Yeah,
it was dead for Nintendo that holiday season. And that game, they sold a few million of those, and that gave them a shot in the arm next year. And then the Super Nintendo one, they probably said, well, we made them, and this is before Switch Online, obviously. They're like, we need something else to make money because there wasn't a huge amount of games out for the Switch in late 2015. We made a ton of money off this. Let's do the natural progression. But yeah, they weren't going to do an N64 after that. I think they realized this isn't our business to sell these trinkets. We sell video games, not a fucking trinket box full of video games. If that makes sense.
Sure.
And so the online they'll make their money. It's smart business to do that. They'll deal with manufacturers and bullshit.
Hey, Pat and Ian, this is John from Seattle, Washington. Love the podcast. 2 questions to Ian. I know that you noticed if you talked about Killer 7. It's one of my favorite games. I was just wondering if you played any other Grasshopper games that you really enjoyed.
I have no idea what these are.
I did not like Shadows of the Damned as much as I had hoped. I never played Killer Must Die. I have played Flower, Sun, Rain a little bit, and I like it, as obtuse as it is. I have Silver Case, but I have not played that yet. I have played No More Heroes 1. I love it. I still have to play 2 and 3. In general, I tend to be 50-50 on Suda51 stuff, but I admire what he does. I think he's creative. I think he does good stuff. I just don't think all of it not all of it sticks for me. But I'm glad someone's out there doing weird games.
Hey guys, it's Richard from Pittsburgh. We met at Too Many Games in 2016, and that was cool. Anyway, I had a little question about some weird trend I've noticed over the last few years. I'm in a lot of PS1 groups, and it seems fairly common for people to get big into collecting, buy up a small library, including some heavy hitters, and some things that they think of as hidden gems. They start talking about variants in the group, start talking about little details they notice that they think others might have missed. Soon they come off as at least somewhat knowledgeable before they start offloading their collection. Like 6 months later, they're offloading their whole collection. Have you noticed this kind of trend, and what do you think about it? Thanks.
Yes, I saw it all the time at Luna. All the time. Someone gets into collecting, and it becomes their thing. And these people, there was a kid, actually, I think you knew him as well. There was a kid who used to come to Luna all the time and was constantly looking for all the heavy hitters, constantly bragging about the heavy hitters he got. He was around for about 3 years, and then last I heard, he had sold everything and just vanished. Just stopped. I've seen a lot of people do that. They think it looks great. They get into it. And this is not just video games. I think this is a lot of hobbies. People, they don't dip their toes in and test the water first to see if something is going to be for them. They jump into it. They, like you said, they buy all the heavy hitters. So like, for someone getting into PlayStation, they're going to jump in and they're going to start buying all the Square Enix RPGs. That's what they're looking for. Or someone who's jumping into record collecting is going to start, trying to find all the greatest Beatles albums in perfect shape and Bowie and stuff like that, the first prints. And I think they just go so hard on it. They spend so much money on it.
It's almost like an OCD thing, I think.
Yeah, it is. And
once they're in it, they got to get everything real quick.
They're out. And I've seen, and people who do that, again, I'm not trying to make a judgment call or say anyone's bad.
It's OCD.
But people who do this, they tend to do it with a lot of other hobbies too.
I saw it. I saw it with someone I knew. This was 15.
Every 2 years, it's a different hobby that is their big thing, and it's going to be their thing forever.
I saw it with someone in Jersey. They did it with, believe it or not, back then they were a lot cheaper overall Game & Watches. Want to get every single Nintendo Game & Watch, which was like dozens and dozens.
And the thing is, while those things are expensive now, they've never been cheap.
They never were cheap. So the hard to find ones, like the Zelda ones 15 years ago was like only probably 15, 20 bucks, 30 bucks. Now it's hundreds, but like the hard to find ones were expensive still. So this person within a year got like the vast majority of them, like got within like a handful and might have then sold them all off within a year. Like you got this beautiful collection, all this stuff. Now now we're just selling it off. There's a lot more people like that than you think. Like get into it, it's completed. Now what? Now I got the stuff. What do I do with it?
Yeah, and that goes back to stuff I had said, earlier in the Luna topic. It's
happens.
It's it's people who collect things because they like the
feeling of collecting things.
They like the numbers game of collecting.
They don't like the thing they're collecting necessarily. They like the feeling of collecting.
They like the feeling of collecting, not the thing that they're buying.
Hey, Pat and Ian. Love the show.
Thank you.
What has been the most rage you've committed from losing in a video game? I once flipped over my mattress after losing my internet connection during a WoW dungeon run. Thanks.
Most rage. I have mine.
I really don't. I just stop playing games when I get mad. I've threw a controller once, but it was because a game scared me.
Okay, that's...
But I have never like thrown a controller or like kicked a console. I've never done it.
I hurt my tricep, which hurt for many years until I got in there and dug it out. Worms Armageddon. Playing it online.
You were talking about that with me last week.
It was sophomore year of college, so I was like, 19 going on 20, whatever. Did it in front of my roommate Rocco, who was a great swimmer. Thought I was crazy. I slammed this down on the table, and I mean like damaged my tricep muscle,
buddy.
And it was hurting for a long time until I finally, the past 3, 4, or 5 years, started, really getting a deep massage in here, and that really helped it. Massage works, by the way. If you never, massage fucking is great. Worms Armageddon, playing competitively. It was ranked.
Oh.
But the worst thing about Worms is that it's so unique because it's not really real time, and you see it happen, but like it's back and forth. So it's you see your death coming in 30-second chunks. Basically, that's what's so frustrating about it.
It is.
And then
you know when you're in a position that you can't really worm your way out of,
or you try to go up the rope and you screw it up the ninja rope, and it's like, oh my, like everything's on a it's something about worms that's what did it versus a first person shooter. Let's see what we got next year.
Hey, Pat and Ian, Bill here from Chicago.
Chicago.
Love you guys' podcast. I listen to it every day. My question is, given everything that you guys know about the Amico and Intellivision in terms of hardware, graphics, the controllers it comes with, the types of games that are going to be on it, given everything you guys know, what do you think a realistic or fair price should be for it when it comes out to the market, if it ever comes out? What should the price tag say when it hits the market? I'd love to hear what you guys think. Thank you, and keep up the great work.
What it should cost if you're running a viable business and cared about your consumers and having a like sort of a long tail on your ecosystem of games, $150 at most. I mean, at most.
Yeah, I don't know that this is possible, but this, and I'm echoing a sentiment that a friend of ours also shares. I think honestly, if there was a way for this to have come out at $100, this thing would do gangbusters over Christmas.
$100 with like 10 packed in
two
games.
Controllers, 10 pack-in games. I think it could have done well.
Obviously, controls gotta be cheaper than what the hell they're trying to do.
And obviously, who knows? That probably can't be done. But we know that it doesn't have to be 250.
Yes, we know.
We
that.
absolutely know it
we know
doesn't
the
need to be
profit margin is insane.
$250. So I think I still think it would be an uphill battle for the Amico at 150 because the Ouya at 100 still had issues. I don't think there's really. Once again, it comes down to they're trying to create a market that does not exist.
I think I settled on like 120 with like 15 packed in games. This is like a year or two ago. I said it's like 120 with 15 packing games, but that's the only thing you're ever going to sell. Is that
right?
That's it. Maybe you have an online store to sell dollar games, but you make all your money off of that. So you're not killing them. You're giving them a good value at $120. Maybe you make $50 on each unit you sell, whatever.
Sure.
It costs you $60 to produce it. That's the plan. And you can sell tens of thousands of those and make a pretty good profit. Maybe 100,000 if you're lucky. If they went down that avenue, it would have been a totally different story. Selling, mobile games or giving mobile games.
Yeah, they could have done like a deluxe. Basically, they could have made a deluxe type plug and play.
But, or do a plug and play where here's the original Intellivision games. Now here's all the reimagined ones.
We're gonna buy ourselves a spot at E3 and pretend we're the big boys.
Hi guys, I've been watching the podcast for a couple months, and every time I see Ian, I just think, wow, that looks like a guy who really likes to eat spaghetti. And I've just been wondering for a long time, every single time I watch an episode, Ian, do you like spaghetti? And if so, why? Thank you very much.
Hey, this is a critical question.
This is one of my all-time favorite questions. This is the type of question that I wish we got more of. I do like spaghetti. I do, but I don't eat a lot of spaghetti.
Me neither. It's not a preferred pasta.
No, that's exactly it. I love pasta dishes. Spaghetti is not my preferred pasta. I saw a recent recipe for a spaghetti-based meal that I would like to try. But I do love a good red sauce and pasta.
Meat sauce, meatballs and sausage.
Whether it's just
a
simple pomodoro or sometimes the bolognese. They're all good. I do love me a pasta and red sauce.
We're 3 months away from Frank having his sister over and making the tons of meat sauce. You got to come over for one eventually. Frank's epic meat sauce. Then he freezes it and you have it next 3-4 months after that. Fucking starving.
Gotta remember the name of the pasta that I love.
Couple more.
Yeah.
Hey Pat, hey Ian. This is Bill from Quakertown, Pennsylvania. Met you guys a couple years ago at Too Many Games. You all guys signed my Ghostbusters DVD.
Sweet.
Anyhow, spent the day at Dorney Park in Wildwater Kingdom.
Been there.
And it got me wondering if you guys had any particularly favorite amusement parks and or thrill rides. Thanks guys. Have a good one.
I think it's not there anymore. Waterworks in Seaside Heights was a great water park. There used to be Rainbow Rapids. There was one down the street. There was two in Seaside within blocks of it. Rainbow Rapids was great. Then Waterworks with their great lazy river. Is that still there? I think that might have been bought out. That's my favorite stuff. My parents never took me to I never been to the land of make believe. Obviously, Okay, Bowcraft, which is like the low rent one off Route 22, Scotch Plains, New Jersey. Shout out to everyone in Scotch Plains in that area. And then never went to Great Adventure. Always wanted to go to Great Adventure, never went.
Being from the Northeast, I was close enough distance to go to Cedar Point a few times. Love Cedar Point. Tons and tons of roller coasters there. I was a huge roller coaster junkie in my teens and in my early 20s. So Cedar Point was excellent. Growing up in Buffalo, I went to Canada's Wonderland a lot. And then we had Darien Lake, which has... Darien Lake got better over the years. I honestly stopped paying attention to it. I don't know if they've added any new rides. But yeah, I do love roller coasters. I love the tall ones, the fast ones, the ones that go upside down. There's basically nothing a roller coaster can do that I would be too afraid to try, which is funny because there are lots of simple fair and carnival rides that I will not go on.
It's now Breakwater Beach Water Park in Seaside. Waterworks was a great name. Oh, well, someone bought it. All right, we'll do two more.
Hey, fellas, this is Rodney from Asheville, North Carolina, and I kind of wanted to take a little time to invite you fellas out if you're ever in Western North Carolina and you want to hit up either the Asheville Pinball Museum or the Appalachian Pinball Museum in Hendersonville. Let me know.
I will.
That leads me to my question, which is mostly for Ian, but Pat, if you want to throw in your 2 cents, I'm here to hear it.
I have some value.
If you could have your own pinball museum, what vintage and or modern cabinets and machines would you want included in that collection? All right, fellas, have a great day, and take care.
So
you've done this before, so
we have. I mean, really, it's hard to say it because in reality, I pretty much just want all the pinball machines I could get. However, I've always wanted to put all 4 Bally wide bodies side by side. Always wanted to do it.
What's those 4 again?
Hot Doggin, Embryon, Paragon.
One you have.
Space Invaders. I always feel like I'm missing
What's
one.
What's that workout one that used to be up?
That would be the next. That's actually the next one I want. Future Spa.
That's a good one.
Yeah, there's 5 of them. I want all 5.
I used to play when they did those little competitions. I was decent at that one.
Wide body pinball is absolutely a different beast than normal pinball.
Oh, yeah.
It absolutely is. I don't like it better. I don't think it's worse.
More technical game.
But I adore it, and I love the big art. I really want all of those.
What do those run on average?
Honestly, they're probably among the cheaper pinball tables because they're older and it's kind of a love or hate thing for people.
Solid state stuff people don't like as much.
More the wide body. People like solid state.
Okay. And we got someone else checking in here.
Good day, gentlemen. This is your good friend Tommy, just leaving a message for His Holiness Pat Contry and Sir Ian Ferguson the Righteous. Because apparently, unlike you guys, I'm a very bad man who says really mean things. Yeah, that story about the driver, that was true. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I'm sorry, but if you think the person who did the music for Color a Dinosaur should have to talk to his driver, then whatever, man. Sue me. But sue me after the Amico comes out, please. Yeah, don't sue me right now. That would not be good. But yeah, the only time I want a driver talking to me is if he's got one of those machines you got to hold up to your throat, that makes you talk like a robot. That shit is classic. But if that doesn't apply to you, I'm going to need you to just drive the damn car and shut up. On a serious note, though, until you've walked a mile in my shoes, if you don't have something nice to say about me, just don't say anything at all. And fuck Undertale, bye.
Wow. Oh, come on, Tommy.
Show
some respect to Undertale there.